Before her final breath on October 11th, the beloved Hollywood star Diane Keaton clutched her dear friend's hand in a quiet Los Angeles home. Her voice, weak but steady, carried a lifetime of hidden pain. "There were 7 men I let in too close," she murmured, eyes distant yet fierce. "They shattered my trust. One by one, I carried that resentment to the grave." It was a raw admission that echoed through the room, revealing the scars behind her iconic smile. These weren't just passing grudges, they were deep wounds from betrayal, arrogance, and broken promises. Men who once lit up her world, only to leave it darker, but could inspire such lasting bitterness in a woman known for her warmth and wit. And which of them cut the deepest? Today, we dive into that whispered list, unraveling the untold stories of heartbreak that shaped her. Starting with the first name that turned admiration into enmity. It all began with a simple tribute gone wrong. Back in the early 80s, Diane had poured her heart into a collection of vintage Hollywood photos. A book meant to celebrate the legends she grew up idolizing. One image stood out, a striking shot of Gregory Peck from his golden era, capturing him as the epitome of grace and light. She saw it as a nod to the hero she'd always revered, someone whose on-screen integrity inspired her own path. But when Peck learned of it, his response hit like a thunderbolt. A stern letter arrived, accusing her of overstepping boundaries and demanding she pull the photo. "This crosses the line," he wrote, his words cold and unyielding. Diane stared at the page, her cheeks burning with shock and fury. What she intended as homage felt twisted into theft. From that day, her view of him soured forever. Films that once moved her, like those tales of justice and romance, now rang hollow. Whispers around town painted him as fiercely protective of his persona, unwilling to share even a glimpse without control. Diane muttered to herself, "If he's so guarded, let him guard his own legacy." She steered clear of gatherings where their paths might cross, her quiet defiance building. Then came the inevitable clash. At a glitzy charity gala in '85, she spotted him across the room, holding court with stories from his classic roles. The audience hung on every word, but to her, it was all performance. When a nosy journalist tossed out a question about her book right there in earshot, Diane couldn't resist a subtle jab. "I aim to highlight timeless charm," she said with a tight smile, glancing his way. "Though not everyone shares that vision, do they?" Peck's reply was polished but pointed, masking irritation with courtesy. That exchange only fueled her fire. In private chats with trusted pals, she'd vent. "He plays the noble type, but up close, pure ego." She gathered anecdotes of his rigid ways, each one stoking her disdain. Even after his passing, years later, she skipped the tributes, letting that old hurt linger like a shadow. If Peck sparked the first flame of resentment, the next man fanned it into a blaze that nearly consumed her. Enter Jack Nicholson, the wild charmer who promised everything and delivered heartbreak. Diane had idolized him from afar as a starry-eyed young woman, his rebellious energy pulling her in like a magnet. Posters of his early hits adorned her walls, fueling fantasies of crossing paths with this force of nature. Fate delivered in the late 70s at a lively gathering, where he sauntered over with that signature grin. "You're the one who steals every scene," he teased. She fired back, flustered but thrilled, and just like that, sparks flew. Their romance blossomed in secret late-night drives under city stars, intimate talks over flickering candles. At 33, she felt alive, whispering dreams of a future together. Could this be real? She'd ask. He'd pull her close. "With you, anything's possible." But cracks appeared, fast. Jack's world swirled with admirers, and his absences grew suspicious. Whispers of flirtations reached her, and one stormy confrontation in his hilltop hideaway shattered the illusion. "I'm not built for chains," he shrugged, his nonchalance like a slap. Tears streaming, she pleaded, "I thought we had something true." His cool gaze said otherwise. The split came swift, right as they wrapped a joint project, leaving her to mask agony on set. Professionalism held, but every shared frame twisted the knife. Years on, another film forced them together, and old wounds reopened. His playful jabs met her icy walls. In one heated moment, lines blurred with real emotion, she snapped back, raw hurt spilling out. The crew sensed the undercurrent, but she powered through, vowing silence. In her private reflections, she labeled him her greatest regret, a man who toyed with hearts like scripts. That betrayal hardened her, a turning point in her guarded soul. Yet even that paled next to the on-set torment from a co-star whose ego knew no bounds. William Atherton, the domineering presence who turned collaboration into combat. Fresh off a major award in '77, Diane dove into a gritty New York drama, eager to explore a raw, vulnerable character. But from day one, Atherton's smug interruptions set the tone. Ease up on the intensity, he'd mocked her in reads, belittling her ideas before the team. Stung but steady, she bit back a retort, focusing on the work. His role demanded aggression, but it bled off camera harsh critiques. Over-the-top rehearsals that left her rattled. In a tense bar sequence, his force crossed lines, shouting inches from her face. "Back off," she whispered, post-take voice, shaking. He dismissed it with a smirk. "It's all part of the gig." Day after day, his nitpicks piled on her delivery, her stance like she was a novice. Whispers to crewmates revealed her boiling frustration. One more jab, and I'm done. Pride kept her going, but the rap brought relief. She dodged joint promotions, letting interviews hint at the challenges without naming names. Deep down, that experience scarred her view of teamwork. A silent vow to steer clear. If this story touches your heart, please share it. But Diane's deepest loathings often stemmed from love turned sour. Like with the gentle soul who reignited hope only to extinguish it. Keanu Reeves, the quiet heartbreaker whose kindness masked his fears. They connected on a breezy 03 set. Her at 57, wary from past romances that promised stars but delivered voids. Playing a resilient writer mirrored her life, and Keanu's warm gaze as the young doctor stirred something forgotten. Casual chats evolved book swaps by the shore, sunset walks, sharing secrets. You light up the chaos, he said one golden evening, hand in hers. She chuckled, flattery from you. I'm flattered. Their stolen moments felt pure, coastal drives, cozy meals in hidden spots. Opening up about old pains laughs with one ex, intensity with another, complexity with a third. She tested the waters. Don't toy with me, she urged. His reply, I'm here for real. Gestures sealed at morning brews with notes, handmade gifts exchanged. Beach strolls turned confessional, her sharing roots, him pulling her close. You're my favorite chapter. But as rap neared, distance grew. His silences worried her until the truth tumbled out. Past Losessa tragic accident. Unspoken grief left him, terrified of attachment. I can't risk more pain, he admitted. Frozen, she whispered, but you've caused mine now. He vanished post-filming, leaving her to nurse fresh wounds alone, staring at endless waves. Resentment brewed. His promises felt like cruel teases. Headlines lauding his humility only mocked her. She sealed her heart tighter, channeling energy into family and art. Confiding to a friend, he was my final shot at trust. And he blew it. Sympathy flickered for his sorrow, but anger dominated, a rout that never fully uprooted. Still, some grudges burned from professional slights, none fiercer than with the star who undermined her at every turn. Michael Douglas, the know-it-all, who made every day a trial, teaming up in 2014 for a tale of late-life sparks. Diane sensed trouble early. His character oozed entitlement, and it echoed in break-snide remarks on her vocals. Her wardrobe tweaks. Is that method or mishap? He'd quip, slicing deep. She'd counter lightly. I've got this handled. But the barbs escalated. Mid-scene directives barked out, critiquing her edge in front of all. Amp it up, he'd demand, smug as ever. She held composure through shoots and press, dishing generic praise with strained grins. Reviews raved about their spark, blind to the friction. In hidden pages, she vented, he acts like the boss of everything. Years later, avoiding his name became habit. Even casual mentions drew curt nods. On her deathbed, she finally confessed to a confidant. He nitpicked me senseless. I faked the cheer, but it was pure misery. Then there was the polished performer whose superiority grated like sandpaper. Richard Gere, the self-assured force who blurred lines dangerously, amid 77's chill New York vibes. Diane embraced a bold role, but Gere's entrance dimmed her fire. At 28, he carried an air of conquest, scanning her like a challenge. Tensions ignited in raw scenes, his immersion turning shoves to real, leaving bruises. Watch it, she gasped after one take. He brushed it off. Director's call. Corrections flowed endlessly. Her poise, her fire, as if she needed schooling. A vulnerable moment stripped her bare, his advice amplifying the exposure. Trembling, she confided to a helper. His commands are suffocating. The climax pushed her over aggression so vivid, tears followed cut. Journal entries raged. He's a control freak in disguise. Post-rap, she cut ties, rejecting any overlapping gigs. That fire smoldered on, a testament to boundaries crossed. And finally, the ultimate betrayer, the charmer whose wandering eye destroyed her last illusions. Warren Beatty, the eternal playboy who echoed every past hurt, enchanted by his early screen magic as a teen. Diane met him in 76 at a bash, his whisper igniting butterflies. You're the spark in every story, he said. Their whirlwind followed. Coastal escapes, starry confessions. She hoped he'd outshine prior cheats. But signs emerged, mysterious messages, vanishing acts. Confronting him over evidence in his lavish pad, she demanded truth. Freedom's my nature, he dismissed, smirking. Echoes of old infidelities crashed in, amplifying the sting. On their shared 81 epic discoveries of flings, mid-shoot broke her. You're no different, she wept. His retort, accept it or move on. She ended it abruptly, skipping hype, haunted by headlines of his conquests. Journals captured the depth. He's the wound that won't heal. Mirroring all the liars before faith and romance crumbled, turning her inward. The seven Peck's rigidity, Nicholson's deceit, Atherton's bullying, Reeves' retreat, Douglas' condescension, Gere's dominance. Beatty's betrayal forged Diane from wide-eyed dreamer to resilient fortress. She shone on her quirks and talent undimmed, but love's door stayed locked. In her twilight, that confession freed the weight. A tragic yet empowering legacy. What resonates with you, her strength amid sorrow, or the men who dimmed her light? Drop your thoughts below. Hit like if this moved you, subscribe for more hidden tales, and share to spread her story.